Going to be real with y'all, I might delete this video. I might delete this video. I had a miscarriage this month. I have had miscarriages before. So while I was upset and we planned for this baby and all that jazz, I knew that it was a possibility that I could have a miscarriage. Obviously, I was working with an OB, and when we found out that there was no heartbeat, I was given my options for what I would like to do to move forward. My OB really supported my decision and prescribed the medication. And then it took me 5 hours to get that medication because I live in a red state. But after 5 hours, I get the medication and I wait a couple days until Dionysus has a few days off so that I won't be alone going through this. I took the medication. It was sucky. It sucked a lot. But I started to feel a little bit better as the days went by, and I thought, okay, the worst of it is gone. Then a few days ago, out of nowhere, I started heavily hemorrhaging. So we obviously had to go to the ER, where I was greeted by a very lovely nurse who understood what I was going through, the fear that I was feeling, and this nurse informed the ER doctor about what's going on. Now, I should say, this complex is connected to my OB. My OB works with this hospital, so they could see all of my information and see that I was prescribed this medication. I'm gonna have to make a part 2. Part 2 is already uploaded, but go to part 2 for the rest. If you haven't seen part 1, it is the most previous reel on the page. It's labeled. I kind of just want to jump into it and not go back because this is really painful for me to talk about. If you're unaware of how the medical system works, the medication that I had to take is also used for medical abortions. However, if you're looking at my chart and you can see that I've been going to an OB, this was not a surprise, and you can see that I've also been prescribed this medication by my OB, sort of clears up a lot of the questions that you may have in a red state. Not for this doctor. He asked me how I got the medication, why I took the medication, did I know that this was going to cause an abortion. I repeatedly told this doctor that I had a miscarriage. There was no heartbeat, and this was the route that I took, and he continued to berate me. The nurse was literally in silence. I do not blame the nurse at all because, I mean, quite honestly, I don't even know how I was able to respond because I was crying. There was no resolution to this. There was no, oh, I can see this in your chart. He berated me, the doctor berated me, and just left. There was no plan of action. He just left. After I had my blood work taken, I then sat in the waiting room for 5 hours, just bleeding in front of other people, which is dehumanizing and embarrassing. I was told the reason why it took so long for me to get to a room was because they were low on rooms, but when I was wheeled to the back, I saw that there were plenty of rooms open and clean that I could have been taken to. I should also mention that the ER waiting room was not busy whatsoever at all. Go to part 3 because I'm still not going to have enough time. If you haven't seen the 2 other parts, they are already up on the page. After losing so much blood, I obviously needed a blood transfusion, and then we quickly found out that I needed emergency surgery due to a lot of complications that happened. I wanted to tell my story because I don't think that I'm special. I don't think that I'm even unique in what happened to me. If someone is bleeding out, maybe that should be your first priority, to stop the person from bleeding out. And then maybe your second priority should be, seeing why this happened, especially if it's in their chart. I was not in a situation where my future child survived. The fetus would not continue to grow without a heartbeat. There were 3 options. But regardless of what I would have chosen, a heartbeat would not have come back. There was no way for this pregnancy to continue at all. And yet I was heavily chastised like a very small child for choosing a very common option. If you are wondering what protections Roe versus Wade brought about, this is one of them. I still don't know if I'm going to keep these videos up. A part of me says that it's important to tell my story, and a part of me says, who cares? I'm not the only one going through this. I don't really know where to end this or how to end this. Just